Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good. Fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts. I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong. I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth. Can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about. Have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round. I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me. A slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Well, all right. Welcome, everybody, to Unscripted. This is episode 320. Man, we've been around for a little bit now. With me, as always, my trusted cohort, babyface Logan Landers. I'm Jay McLovin. How you doing, Logan?
Hey, I'm doing good, Jay. We got, a lot's happened here just today. I mean, we've had to rearrange some topics, put some different wording in a few, and we got a lot to cover, man. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Let's start off. You know what? Let me backtrack myself. Let me tell the people where they can find us outside of our shows. Number one, check us out on Twitter. It's at Unscripted Guys, all one word. And check us out on TikTok at Unscripted Sports. All one word. Logan and Frankie do a really good job keeping us up to date on breaking news. So you can catch all the breaking news over there at those two locations. Also, check us out on the ASAP network. That's ASAP network on Google Play and also on Amazon. There's an app now. We have our own app. The network has its own app. So you can check the app out there. You can also check us out. We're affiliated now with BetUS. We're all over the place. Check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun as we get into today's show. And with no further ado,
Already some technical difficulties, but we already know what it is, Jay. It's breaking news.
And anywho, yes, I'm gonna go back. Oh, there we go. Now we can play. Jeez Louise.
There we go.
Never a dull moment on this show. Let's talk quarterback signings and things that are not, I should say, extension signings, however you want to term it. Let's talk about a little bit of that. We'll start it off with Daniel Jones. 4 years, $160 million. That's $40 million a year. Now, Logan, my question is this. If you're Geno Smith and you are number one last season in completion rate, number 6 in QBR, you're outdoing Daniel Jones, and yet they only give you 3 years at 105. And he got 4 years at 160. Would you have a little bit of an issue with that?
I mean, I would have a slight issue only because Geno got signed the other day for that money. We're like, oh wow, look at all that money. And now it's old news now. Because Daniel Jones just got paid this large sum, which I don't know, Jay. A lot of people didn't really see coming, at least not quite yet. So we thought, he might get franchise tagged for a year, like we'll talk about with a few other guys, or But yeah, they're committed to him, man. They are definitely
committed. Let me ask you this: Do you think that the Giants overspent for Daniel?
I mean, I think so, because I don't think he's horrible, Jay. But I still he's only really had the one good season last year. Right. And kind of like Geno, right? Let's be real here. Geno had a really good year last year that no one saw coming. And for Daniel Jones, no one really kind of saw it either for him. But he had, I would say, more potential to break out than Geno did, only because just age and whatnot. But I mean, obviously they're committed to him. I mean, hopefully this does not blow up in their face like quarterbacks of the past that they've signed for a lot of money.
Right.
And we'll see what he can do, man. But yeah, 4 years. What was it? 160. That is
4 years at 160. Now they're going to turn their attention over, and they just put the tag on Barkley,
right? Which
means they got to pay Barkley $10 million. I think it is what the tag on him is.
Yep.
So eventually, come next year, they're going to have to figure out what it is they're doing with Barkley. I don't have a problem with them tagging Barkley and giving Jones the money. I just think, me personally, I feel like they overspent for a guy that just gave you one good season. And I mean, not great season by any means. Good season.
Let's be real, Jay. I mean, I'm not discrediting Daniel Jones. He had a great year, the best year of his career. But it was in due, I think, to Saquon Barkley being healthy again.
Right.
And having just the ability to mix plays up, that helped. And, like you mentioned, they franchise tagged him for the year. And, I mean, if he has another good year, Jay, it would not surprise me if he walks away from the team for more money. So if I'm New York, man, if I'm the Giants, you're kind of under a ticker right now. You've got to get something rolling more than what you did last year, which was, like I said, they had a decent run last year. But, I mean, Jay, the NFC East is stacked. I mean, they're coming back loaded. So we'll see what they can do. Also, I mean, hey, free agency's right around the corner.
Yes, and we're going to get to that just in one set because, as you know, today at 4 o'clock was the deadline to tag.
Yep.
I believe I want to say it's the 9th or something like no. So today was the expiration of the tag. Free agency starts on the 15th. I believe they have until the 9th.
15th.
I think they have till the 9th to cut people to save the cap. They have to wait until the 9th to cut people in order to save that cap money. And then free agency starts so they got the cap on cutting on the 9th, or you can't cut until the 9th, and then free agency opens up on the 15th. So definitely we're getting ready to get into a very busy time for the NFL, no doubt about it. Speaking of that, let's move over real quick to Lamar Jackson, another guy that was they put the non-exclusive tag on, which means they're going to pay him $32 million this year. And they have the ability, or other teams have the ability to make him an offer. And then, of course, Baltimore can match the offer, or they can let him go. If they do let him go, then that team that signs the contract with Lamar would then give Baltimore 2 draft picks. I thought it was a good play on Baltimore's side. I was telling the other day, it's going to let you know what, and of course, probably disagree with me, but I feel like, when you put the non-exclusive, you're going to see what the market's speaking to in terms of what they think he's worth. And then it gives you an idea, if you want to match or not match. And it still gives you the option of getting 2 picks. But Lamar Jackson franchise tag, I think we all saw that coming.
Yeah, I'm not shocked, man. But hey, Jay, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm licking my chops right now, man. If I just saw what Geno Smith and Daniel Jones got paid, who have done less than what he's done in his career,
right?
Man, if I'm the Ravens, I'm starting to sweat a little bit with Ozzie Newsome as the owner. Man, I'm starting to sweat, saying, all right, the money's going up a little bit. I know, Deshaun Watson said he's willing to restructure his contract, which is kind of the kicker for all of this. So, yeah, I think Lamar's payday is getting a little bit closer than we think. And, I mean, we'll see, man. Obviously, there's some teams out there who are kind of linked to at least talking with him. There's no obvious definite if he's going to sign there or not. But, I mean, he's got a lot of suitors, and we're going to find out eventually what they think of him, what they think they'll give him. And it's going to be exciting, man. Just this drama continues. I mean, we had, who was the Hollywood Brown the other week? It was Rashad Bateman. Bateman, he called out the owners and the GMs for his own team, saying, look, man, y'all got to quit blaming me for this. Like, you guys are the ones who sign people. So
pretty much.
Hey, if I'm the Ravens front office, man, I'm a little skeptical right now because they're getting a lot of heat.
And that's the thing too, man. Look, when it comes to Lamar, man, it's not the fact that I think they're willing to give him the money per year. For them, I think it's just the amount of the guarantee. I'm telling you, that's the only thing that's holding them up is that guarantee. So at this point, is Lamar going to force their hand? Because you only get franchise tagged twice.
Right.
So is he going to force their hand when all the tags are used up And then it's like, okay, here we are. You can't tag me anymore. You're either A, going to give me the full guarantee, or B, I'm out the door. And do you think the Ravens do that? By the way, Gonzo!
What's up, Chris?
Hey, how we going, guys?
Hey, we also got Billy Buzz Smith chiming in on YouTube. What's going on? What's going on, sir?
How you doing, Billy?
But again, at some point, when that second tag is used, they're going to have to come out the ring and either give him the fully guarantee, or I think he walks. Do you think he gets a fully guarantee after that second tag?
I've been in the camp, Jay, and I'm not switching sides. I think Baltimore gives him his money. All because, man, I don't know what I mean. They're not in the great position to draft a quarterback, at least this year. That's a lot giving up him. You know what I mean? I mean, they've built this team around him for years now. They've had some, solid success. Nothing too major, obviously, but
right.
I mean, I've always been the camp that they got to re-sign him. But if not, then obviously they're taking a huge gamble.
Absolutely. Gonzo, we've talked about this extensively with Lamar. We know he got the non-exclusive. We knew he was going to do that. My question is, at some point they're going to have to give him the long-term deal if they want to keep him when all these tags are used up. They know they got the first one used. I think this is his first tag, correct? Or is this his second tag?
First.
Okay. So he's got one more tag to go before they have to basically put up or shut up. Do you think that they give the full guarantee on the next go-around, or do you think it gets pushed to a second tag and then they come out the ring? What do you think Baltimore's going to do long-term? Because like I said earlier, I think they give him the money per year. I think the only struggle that Baltimore is having right now is the fully guaranteed part. Do you think they come out the ring and he gets that fully guaranteed?
I think it's going to depend on what the interest is in him here now that he can be talked to by other teams. And does anybody make him a big offer? Because if he don't get a big offer from any of these other teams, then that gives Baltimore a little bit more of the leverage back, because they can go back and say, well, hey, none of these teams was, he wasn't getting out offer from anybody else.
And also at that point, Chris, just a counterpoint. Also, I don't know if he's going to get the same amount of money from other teams, at least for this go round, only because, like Jay mentioned, there are those 2 draft picks that's involved.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big factor too.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do out there in Baltimore. And speaking of guaranteed money, we roll over to the Saints where obviously Carr signed his big contract at 4 years, $150 million, and then he gets $100 million of that $150 million guaranteed. How well did he lock that up? And he did. I will say this on Carr's behalf: the way they structured that contract, it is a cap friendly number each year, so they really work that out.
And I agree with Frankie. I think he'll end up playing this year because I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be willing to give up the 2 draft picks.
Right.
And then they'll end up getting the contract done with them at the end of the season before next year. That's what I think will happen.
Yeah, I think they just kind of extended it for another season.
I think they believe that no other team's going to give them a fully guaranteed deal like that.
And that's the thing, Frank. And that's what I'm trying to get. That's what I want Frankie to tell me. Frankie, we know he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid.
It's coming.
The problem is, does he get the fully guaranteed? That's where the issue is.
But back to Derek Carr, though, Jay. I mean, so much for all of us saying, man, the Saints ain't got no cap money. I mean, they just said, hey, you know what? Screw that. We're going to get even worse trouble here.
Oh yeah,
they're like $50 million over the cap.
I mean, yeah, and I don't understand it, man.
There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a mass exodus of restructuring.
Don't get me wrong.
They're going to open up the line, and there's going to be a big window, and they're going to go through this line, and they're just going to restructure after restructure.
They're going to restructure the whole damn team.
Now, give me a second. I'm going to look up the Saints roster for how much money they're giving people, and we'll do a little game here of who's leaving and who's not.
Because I'm pretty sure they're almost $60 million over the
Good
cap.
Grief.
Oh, they're way over the cap. Way over the cap. And
all right. Let's see. I got it here, boys. All right, just highest paid players, right? We'll go with that. Cam Jordan. Oh, Cam Jordan. So do you just want to give the cap hit?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, yeah, cap hit. If Cam Jordan, 25.6 mil.
Jeez.
Then we got Marshawn Lattimore at 22.4. Andres Pete, who is a guard, 18.3. Alvin Kamara, who we don't even know if he's going to be playing because he's had his legal issues. He's at 16. Jameis Winston, who is out the door now, pretty much. That's $15K right there, boys.
Damn.
Where's old Michael Thomas at in this? I haven't seen him yet. Oh, right below it. There we go. 13.5.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a lot of money.
Well, if you get rid of Thomas and Winston, right there's about half of it.
I mean, Thomas, you pretty much got rid of 3 seasons ago. He's never on the field.
Pretty much. I think they just need to finalize that. Cut bait from, like you said, cut bait from Winston, cut bait from Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to go back to Kamara with all his legal issues, and he will he's either going to take a pay cut or he's going to take an incredible restructure. And then again, with Lattimore and Jordan, those guys are going to have to take their restructures too. And I think if you can get that done, I think that gets you under the cap, and I think you'd be okay. But you're not bringing on anybody either.
No. And also to Frankie's comment here, he's wanted to just know how much they over under the cap. So I'm using sporttrack.com, and it says estimated cap space is minus 28 million, almost 29.
Yeah.
So that's what they're sitting at right now.
Over.
So yeah, they're anywhere from 25 to 29 million dollars over.
So if you got rid of Mike Thomas and Winston, you'd be about
then you'd be a little bit better. But still,
but again, they're going to have to look at that defense, and there will be some restructuring on that defense. There will be restructuring with Kamara, and I think
I think Kamara and Thomas, you have to. They just haven't been on the field.
Be restructuring their deals.
Let's see.
I don't even see the point of keeping Thomas, though. I'm cutting Thomas, and I'm cutting Winston, and I'm restructuring everybody else.
Winston, I think obviously he's done. That's once they sign Carr, that's pretty much shut case there.
And truthfully, Logan, it's a deep class at the wide receiver spot. So I think you cut Thomas, find another wide out to compliment.
I'm about to say you got Chris Olave, who did great for him last year.
Absolutely, and you still got Jarvis Landry over there. Yeah. So. You got a 1-2 punch. I think you look for that third option, maybe that slot guy or whatever, and you bring him in to compete with. And I think you're going to be okay. Honestly, I think you're going to be fine. Again, they're lucky it's a deep draft at that position. Let's turn attention real quick over to Calvin Ridley. Speaking of, since we're talking about wide receivers, as you know, Calvin Ridley has been reinstated now. So he will be in minicamp with the Jaguars. He will be in full effect. To add on to what the Jaguars are doing over there. So, my God, man, when you add Calvin Ridley to a pretty damn good team, under year 2 of Peterson, you got to imagine this Jaguars team. I got to tell you right now, I'm already calling them playoff contenders. How far they go, that's another issue. But this team's going to be pretty damn legit come this season.
This is going to be a good team, Jay. I mean, I thought last year that the Titans were still kind of going to be the kings of the South, but – now we get the rumors that they might be shopping Henry around, so it might not be looking so hot over there. But yeah, I think the Jaguars are on the rise, man. And Chris, I know you know him very well, being in your division. How do you think they're going to go with this year? Do you think they're going to be on top, or do you think they're going to be fighting still for that 1 and 2 spot?
I think the Jags are going to be right there to try to win that division. Mm-hmm. I think the Colts are going to win the division, so I think they'll be right behind the Colts.
There you go. Who you got with their quarterback though? Who's going to lead the team?
Oh, fuck.
I know you've mentioned Levis before.
Man, I don't know. I think they're either going to go with Levis or Stroud.
You'll know by the look on Chris's face.
Yeah, I'm about to say we'll know on draft day. John says Ridley goes over under 1K.
I wouldn't be over. I also wouldn't be surprised if they do stay at 4 if they don't maybe take a shot on that Richardson.
I feel you.
Even though I think that's drafting a little too high, but I wouldn't be surprised just with all the hype.
Yeah, I'm not. I think Richardson's a definite reach.
And with his skill set, I think he's a reach at 4. But with his skill set, with that coach being with Jalen Hurts, I can see them doing that. I think. I think if that's who you want, I think you move back and get him.
You can definitely wait.
You don't have to go for it.
Let me ask you guys a question. Again, we're gonna be all over the place here during these opening comments right now. I want to switch over real fast to D'Angelo Russell over there with the Lakers. As you know, Bron's out. Lakers are right there, man. They play tonight. Unfortunately, going to play the Memphis Grizzlies. So, but again, they are getting Memphis Grizzlies that they're playing without John Morant. So
and Dylan Brooks.
And Dylan Brooks. So Lakers, if the Lakers can handle business tonight, and if Utah loses tonight, then Lakers will slide up into that number 10 spot in the play-in. Right now, they're even with the Jazz. Both the Jazz and the Lakers are sitting at 31 and 34. Obviously, the Jazz right now are in the 10th spot. But again, a win by the Lakers, a loss by the Jazz, and we're not even talking about this anymore, right? At least not for a few days.
No, and the Jazz take on the Mavericks tonight. That's who they're facing with Luka and Kyrie.
Wow!
So that's going to be a tough battle. But I mean, I think the Lakers will get this tonight because the Grizzlies team has just been beaten over the head recently, man, with all the stuff going on off the court. And then Dylan Brooks on the court, he reached the technical foul limit, Jay.
Right.
I mean, so I think if he gets another one, maybe I forget how the rule works, but if he gets another technical foul, he just gets suspended for another game or something.
Yeah, that's what they said when I saw that game last go around. That
which they can't have. Jay.
More technical from being suspended.
They can't have. There's less than 20 games left in the season. You're fighting for your life to hold off the Kings in that spot. And we don't know. I mean, I know they said that Morant's suspended for 2 games, but we don't know how he might be suspended for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's too busy playing.
He's
not playing.
If they do an investigation, Jay, there is potential that he is popped for 50 games for carrying a gun on a team plane. If that investigation does end up going that way, we don't know yet, obviously, but that is a potential scenario.
Yeah, he can miss most of the next season.
Exactly. Before I get to what John said, we'll wrap this up here with the Grizzlies and the Lakers. I mean, AD had a great night the other night. I mean, he put up monster numbers that we saw him put up earlier in the year. And like we said, guys, as long as he's healthy, as long as he can stay on the court, and he's looked good in starts this year. And with, like you mentioned, D'Lo coming back after his kind of short injury. I mean, I think, definitely this Lakers team's an improvement to what they had, 20, 30 games ago.
Right.
And I think they're going to get that win tonight. I think Dallas is going to take care of business against Utah. So I think they'll move up a little bit in the purple and gold. Also tonight is Pau Gasol. Yeah, they are retiring Pau's number tonight.
Yeah, they needed to retire his number a while back. So it's good to see that they're actually giving him his due on that.
John Suggs said John Morant's at home playing Vice City.
Yeah, he is. Look, they literally the Memphis Grizzlies had a team meeting. Obviously, Morant wasn't there, but he was a subject pretty much of the meeting of how they're going to travel on the plane in the future road games. I'm assuming what they're saying is, I don't think this had to be said, but I guess we'll go ahead and say it. There's no guns allowed on the damn plane, okay?
Yeah, that's pretty that makes sense, Jay.
They have a policy about that. I mean,
it's in the code. It's in the code.
Hey, Logan, I'm gonna be honest with you, Logan. The only thing that came to my mind when I seen that they were having this meeting about road games and safety and this, that, and the other was in the replacements after they shut up old boy's Porsche, and they're in the meeting room and they're like, okay, we're not gonna ask any questions, but whoever had the firearm, please turn it in.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
Mess with our quarterback.
Yeah, Frankie also said, "I'm grateful his jersey will be next to Kobe." Yeah, that's good too. Hey, that's good. That's a good point there, Frankie. It'll be next to Kobe, and we all know how symbolic those two are. We ain't got to mention that. We already know that's gonna be good. Plus, it's against Memphis, so I mean that's obviously the Gasols have a big tie to Memphis, so it fits right. And then what John Suggs said there, he said Richardson's hyped because he jumped so high and ran like a 4.4. Like Shannon Sharp says, show me a quarterback that ran a sub-5 that won a Super Bowl. Richardson that had talent in Florida threw for like 54%. I mean, that's not a screaming top 5 pick to me, fellas. Also, I don't care how high you can jump. And you know what I mean? I mean, I don't care.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's good for a hurdle once in a while, but I mean, come on.
Hey, speaking of the draft, speaking of the combine, things of that nature, since he already brought it up, that kind of segues right into the next topic.
Perfect.
I want to talk about some winners and losers at the combine. I'll keep mine pretty short. I thought there was quite a few winners. I thought Stroud impressed with the interview portion. He had a strong throwing session. Was pretty accurate in his throwing. Of course, he came off that really great game against UGA, and he had a 69.3% completion rate. So Stroud, I think, really bolstered his argument for why he should go number one, in my opinion. I think Richardson, like you said, he ran a 4.43 in the 40. He did showcase a pretty good arm. So I think, he always put himself in a good light. And then you look at Levis, who stayed in control in his throwing session. And he had a very high top ball speed at 59 miles an hour with accuracy on his intermediate throws. So you got him looking good, Richardson looking good, Stroud looking good, and I think at that point, you can look at Stroud, Young, and Levis and Richardson. I think we'll all go in that first round. However, Young, I felt like was kind of a loser in this, in the fact that because he didn't throw, he allowed other people to showcase themselves on what everybody wanted to see, not just what the quarterback wanted to throw, which I think, yes, I get Young wants to, put himself in the best light, but sometimes thinking that you can go to a pro day and that's going to be the best thing ever. No, it's not, because again, there's still questions of, well, you did your throws and that's great, but what about all the other throws that you didn't show us? Can you make those throws? And then there is an issue with his durability and his height. So again, I think Young, although will be either number one or number two pick, he didn't hurt that at all. But not throwing at the combine and then having everybody else throw at the combine, having good interviews and things of that nature, I think does weigh down a little bit on, is it really going to be him as a number one? I look at a guy like Stetson Bennett. I felt like he was a winner. I thought he had a strong arm. He had accuracy on his deep balls, and he was throwing darts. I mean, he had good accuracy. I think he's still going to be a day 2 or maybe even a day 3 pick. But certainly I think Bennett put himself in the best light he could put himself into going into the draft. And then you look at Anderson. I felt like Anderson showed that he should have number one potential. He ran a 4.6 in the 40. He impressed on his field drills, and a lot of people at the combine were comparing him to Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. So again, another guy who put himself in really good light, especially when you're going up against a guy like Jalen Carter, who we all know and everybody has said is the best overall guy in the draft. And he's coming off those negative misdemeanors and things of that nature. So I think Anderson really kind of maybe leapfrogged him a little bit in that respect. Not to say that Carter's still not going to go number 3. And I think probably overall Anderson probably still will go at number 4 to the Bears if the Bears grab that number 4 spot. Again, one thing else I wanted to point out, there were 7 cornerbacks that were under the 4.4 range at the 40-yard dash. And guess what? Joey Porter Jr. wasn't one of them. And not only was he not one of them, but your boy Christian Gonzalez, which is another good cornerback supposedly in that class, came in at number 7. Hey, he came in at number 7 on that list at a 4.38 in the 40. So there were 6 guys, 6 corners.
Of course he's good. He's a Gonzalez, man. Come on.
There you go. Hey, also we got Jay Johnson.
You get 1 Speedy Gonzalez, we get 2.
Hey, he put up his winners here. I'm gonna say we didn't mention him, Jay. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun to say.
Because I can't say the name.
DeBore, the defensive lineman from Northwestern, right? That boy ran a 4.4940. That's
282 pounds.
I'm about to say he's a big guy too. I mean,
but again, I think Christian Gonzalez. I think he's going to be first round, but he didn't put up the fastest time. There were 6 other guys that out. But again, it's more than just speed making a great corner, right? I mean, that's just one attribute. So
Also, too, Nolan Smith had a really good pro day too. He looked really good at the combine. I mean, he ran like a 4.3.
Right,
which is crazy for someone his size, and he jumped. I think it was like 40 something inches. I mean, they got some freaks out there in Georgia, man. There's a lot of guys who look good.
And then a couple of the losers that I had was Max Dugan, and everybody knows I love Max Dugan. Max Dugan has been on
that's Jay's boy.
Man, that is my boy, and he does want to play for Dallas, and Dallas has shown interest in drafting Max Dugan, and I think they'll probably get that opportunity. Honestly,
let me ask you this, Jay: if they draft Max Dugan, how long will it be before Dugan takes over?
I knew it was coming, Chris. I knew it was coming.
Honestly, at this point right now, I think he's a backup. I don't know if he's quite got all the intangibles.
He's a backup.
I don't think he has all the intangibles yet. Maybe to take over that number 1 spot. I still think that's still Dax to lose. But he did have a good interview. He interviewed well. He ran a 4.52 in the 40. He had a good throwing session. But honestly, guys, I really think what hurt Max Duggan the most is just how well the SEC quarterbacks performed.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. The way Stroud performed, the way Levis performed, Richardson. I really think that I think his performance, although it was good, I think got lost in the shuffle. And I think ultimately that's what makes him a day 3 pick because of that, which is fine because I think he slides down. Dallas picks him up. Hey, no harm, no foul. The other one I had was Jordan Addison. I felt like he ran a 4.49 40 outside the top 10 at his position in terms of that. He did have to cut his workout short because he tweaked his back. So back issues, a sub 4.49 outside the top 10 and speed. We'll see how that reflects in the draft, but these are things to keep an eye on. The other one was Mike Morris, the edge rusher. He ran a 4.95 40, slowest at the combine. He gave you 7.5 sacks for Michigan. But is he? I think the question on him is, will he be a one-hit wonder? And that's why I got him in the losing spot. Again, Carter, the edge rusher out of Army, made the big stink because Army wasn't going to let him go and break his contract and get into the draft. They put a huge stink about it. Well, the Army came around. They let Carter, go ahead and do the combine. They're going to let him experience what the NFL will give him in the draft. But at this point, guy, if you're going to make a big stink, you better show the F out at the combine. And you didn't do it. You put up the lowest marks at your positional group. He made a big deal about it. Everybody big hoopla in the Army community, only to go to the combine and stink it up with the lowest marks at your position. What a time to be alive. Can I just say that? What a time.
Hey, let's see. Yeah, John has his losers. He's got Dugan, Jaquel Ray, Kenny McIntosh. Those are his 3 losers there. We got our boy Billy Buzz Smith coming in saying, even with our new OC in Dallas, Dak will never win my team and Jay's team the big game.
Sadly, that is the knock on Dak. Until Dak wins it, that's always going to be the knock on him. It's always going to be the knock on Romo. It's always going to be the knock on Quincy Carter, all the way back until you get to Troy Aikman. Of course, the great Troy Aikman. Sugg says everyone having high hopes on Brandon Joseph, the safety out of Notre Dame, and he was at, he
didn't really do. Well, but like we always say, right? These are just combine numbers. They don't always represent what you're going to get on the game tape.
Right. So, and again, hey, we all know that the great Tom Brady didn't do well at the combine. And
no one knew who he was. Look at
the last thing I wanted, and Chris, before we move on to the last thing I want to talk about before we get into slides, man, was there anything you wanted to talk about in terms of winners or losers that you thought at the combine?
No, not really. You covered about all of them. I thought Richardson was a big winner because I think he really improved his stock a lot.
Right.
They said he blew everybody away in the interviews, and then all the high, the fucking vertical jump and everything else is 40.
The cone that, yeah, there you go. Don't forget the bench press. Yeah.
He was just doing everything. And that's what scares me, that the Colts are going to overdraft him at 4.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, Jay, what we got up next?
Hey, the last thing is really more of a comment than it is necessarily a topic. Logan, I just wanted to give you props, brother. Your boys over there, the Braves,
yeah,
they beat the ever-living dog shit out of Rodon. The centerpiece edition.
That was good for half the game.
Hey, hold on. The centerpiece edition to the New York Yankees.
With the Braves beat the Yankees.
If I can, the Frankie Montas Jr. Part 2 edition got beat up for 6 hits, 5 runs over 2 innings, and they went up with an ERA of 22. And I don't care if Dustin says, well, Jay, last year he had an ERA of 17. That's all well and great. But now he's over there with the Yankees. Shut up, Dustin. He's going to suck ass. What a time to be alive. Always Frank was yeah, but the Braves had 2 pitch clock violations the other day. Look, John, you're missing the point. This isn't about what the Braves did.
It's about who won the game.
What the Yankees Rodon didn't do. Okay, that was the point of the comment, but it's okay. It's okay.
Hey, and for let me get his name right, Jay, because he's not going to be on the roster. For Nolan Kingham, you poor soul, I feel so bad for you, man. His ERA right now is infinite. So do with that what you will.
Wow. What
tough loss, but like you said, small victories, Jay.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, this is what Tony was asking me so hard the other night, man, about this topic. And I only gave him one. I gave him the Van Fleet. NBA's most disappointing stars this season. Quite a few, actually. But I'm only going to give you my 5, Logan. Gonzo, I'm going to keep it brief, but you guys tell me what you think your disappointing stars of the season are. I'm going to go right now. Number 5, I got Kyle Lowry. Yes, he's had knee issues. His defense has been okay, but offensively, he has faded out.
Yeah, he's just getting
faded out to the point where now Kyle Lowry is basically a plug and play, and he's only shooting 33% of his threes. So I got Kyle Lowry, number 5, biggest disappointment. Number 4, Logan. I hate to do this to you, but I got to give it to your boy Trae Young.
Why don't you do it, Jay?
I got to give it to him, man. Look, Trae, don't get it twisted now. Trae's put up 27 points, 10 assists. Not bad. But when you compare it to last year he was putting up, 28 with 9.5 assists. He went up a half of assist, but he went down 1 point. However, though, where I think Trae is kind of hurting the team a little bit is in his shooting percentage. He's giving you 49% from the field, 37% from the three-point arc, but the conversion rate around the basket for Trae Young has dipped. And that's where I think Trae Young is really struggling right now, is the conversion rate around the rim, as well as his three-point shooting taking a dip. I think Young plays better when he's independent of Murray, which is another issue. They brought in Murray to team up with Young. However, they don't play well together. They play better independently of each other, and that's another reason why I feel like Trae Young is disappointing at this point. Again, that's where I put that at. And again, he struggles also with the catch and shoot this year. So those are some of my issues with Trae Young. I move into number 3. Disappointment was Fred Van Fleet. His outside shooting is in the toilet. He's the 74th percentile of pick and roll scoring with 37.9% of his threes. And he's shooting under 35% on the catch and shoot three. And he's down from 43% last year. So Fred Van Fleet, you better find your shooter's touch, guy, because right now you're hurting the city of Toronto. And, of course, number 2 is the infamous, the end-all be-all, the 3-year all-star removed Ben Simmons.
He's not your number 1.
26 years old, battling some injuries, battling some mental health, 11.3 of his drives and 11.2 on the field goal attempts per year, 36 minutes to 4.8 and 7.2 respectively, has him on the bench.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if he's ever going to find who he was 3 years ago, but at this point in time, Ben Simmons, you are a bust and you are dead to me. And number 1.
Jesus Christ.
And number 1. The infamous, the all, the enchiladas, the supreme COVID distractor of spitting on the microphones in an interview. None other than Rudy.
Big Rudy.
Buckets Gobert.
Oh, Christ.
Listen, guys, I got a problem with this guy.
What you got with him?
Opponents are shooting 57% against him at the rim. Worst of his career. His rebounding and blocks are also at the lowest of his career. Also, he's at the 8th percentile of 100, Minnesota is at the 8th percentile for scoring 107 points in 100 possessions. So 100 possessions only yielded them 107 points. The T-Wolves, and the reason why I have him as being the biggest disappointment is because the T-Wolves gave up not only a lot of players, but they also gave up a lot of picks. They gave up the damn farm, and they gave up the neighbor's farm to bring this guy in, only to watch him suck a big, fat donut around the rim. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm Minnesota, I'm a little pissed. Gonzo? Just a little smidge. Gonzo, who are your hitters and who are your missers? Actually, who are your disappointments we're talking about? Disappointing.
Ben Simmons definitely.
That's on all of our lists. Come on,
he has to be in there. I mean, I think he's mentally broke. I don't know if he'll ever get back to the level
he's cooked.
Rudy Gobert was on my list.
Yep.
John Wall, just because of all the hype of him going to the Clippers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody thought he was going to help them be a contender.
Honestly, I just put the whole Clippers organization.
That's true.
Oh man,
honestly, come on. They're one game above 500.
And also Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine. Yep.
That's a good list. Honestly,
that's a good one.
And I would also put Zion Williamson in there, even though I know Jay don't agree with it, but availability.
I only say that because Zion hasn't had a lot of longevity at the position.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying he's disappointing because all the hype, and then he can't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally understand where you're coming from on that. Logan, disappointments. What you got?
Some other players we haven't thrown out there that have just been kind of a little sad or haven't seen any of this year. Got to throw Lonzo Ball in that mix. Because he hasn't even touched the court. That's a rough one, right? I would say the Miami Heat. Really, I mean, you could look at a few guys on that roster.
Yeah,
I mean, Duncan Robinson got paid that back a couple of years ago. I know he's not like an elite star or anything, but I mean, my God, he's not even getting on the court anymore, really. Obviously, I think Rudy Gobert. That's a big one there that we've mentioned. Let's see, we got. Oh, look at John Suggs coming in here. He said Trae Young, PJ Tucker, Marcus Smart, LaMelo, Zion, Draymond Green, Talen Horton-Tucker, Andre Drummond, and Montrezl Harrell.
Again, I don't know why you don't. There's a lot of good, understandable people, but I don't know why Gobert should be in your most disappointing. If Gobert's not your most disappointing, and you got to see what they gave up.
John, you got to at least put Gobert and Simmons in your list. Those are the top two.
Come on, man.
Those are your main two. I mean, everyone else is just kind of filler at that point, I think.
It's just, when you look at what they gave, when you look at what the T-Wolves gave up last year they fought tooth and nail against Memphis in the playoffs, and they were Minnesota was still looking pretty damn tough.
Yeah, they were.
And then they made the blockbuster all-in trade for Gobert, and now they just look like dog poo-poo.
You say, Gobert's number 2. Simmons also sucked. Yeah, you ain't wrong.
I'm just saying. You make this trade for Gobert, and you go from a tough playoff contender down to baby doo-doo. I don't know how you don't see that as. I don't know how that's not the most biggest disappointment ever.
It didn't make no sense because when is the last time that we've had a team have two big guys and really succeed?
20 years.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, and these guys don't even play on the court with each other.
No, you can't.
They don't even play on the court with each other.
At least Towns can cover 1 through 5. You know what I mean? He can at least guard some guys, but Gobert's just legit a statue. That man stays in one spot, and that's about it. But
trying to be alive, man. Moving on real quick. And I kind of threw the hint out there on with Gonza earlier. I got Jake Haener, the quarterback out of Fresno, as the next Brock Purdy of this draft. Man, I'm gonna give you a few reasons why I think that's the case. When you look at Purdy, it was very delusional to think that he was going to go from Mr. Irrelevant to where he was with the 49ers in the playoffs. And then you look at Jake Haener, who's out of Fresno State. He's a gritty, athletic pocket passer with an average arm, very much like Purdy. Dak was a 4th rounder. Kirk Cousins was a 4th rounder and they both made the playoffs. Purdy is 6'1", 212. Haener is 6'1", 200. And again, they both wowed at their universities. For example, Haener went 2021, won 10 games over there. In 2022, he won another 10 games. He's okay on his accuracy. He's not a surgeon, so he's not going to give you those perfect, over the back, whatever, where nobody can get to the ball. But he does have a fairly decent, accurate arm. And again, he's 78.8% accurate if you wanted the actual number. To put that in perspective, Logan, Purdy was 78.6%. accurate. So he's 0.1%. If you want to say anything good, he's 0.1% better in accuracy than Purdy. And he can understand defensive coverages, which in my mind makes him invaluable, because to understand defensive coverages, that's a huge thing for any quarterback to have. So again, if you want to compare stats, if you want to compare physicalities, if you want to compare throwing and accuracy, he's very much like Brock Purdy. Now, I'm not saying he's going to beat Brock Purdy, but he's the closest thing to Brock Purdy coming out of this draft for next season. I think he goes late day 2, early day 3, and I think somebody picks him up. I don't think he quite makes it to Mr. Irrelevant, but I don't think he'll be far from it either.
Also, John Suggs agrees with Jay. He says Haener is a diamond in the rough. He held his interception most time average 4.6, 70%. I guess that means he doesn't turn it over that much. A little confusing there, John. Held his interceptions most time. Maybe averages 46 INTs. Maybe 70% completion. Is that what he's going for?
That's what I think he's trying to say.
Right,
I think
I got
46 picks with 70% completion rate.
Yeah. Hey, look, Jay. All I'm looking for, man. If I'm the last, his career 4 to 6 interceptions. Okay, There we go. But my thing too, if I'm drafting someone who isn't, a high end pick like a Brock Purdy or we'll say a Jake Haener, I mean, as long as you're not turning the ball over 30 times, if you're not throwing picks left and right like your Jameis Winston, I mean, that's all I'm looking for, man. Someone who's solid. Just give me a solid piece. I mean, look, I mean, the Brock Purdy thing's literally a 1 in a million shot. But like I said, it's good to look at these guys who don't get much love and respect, and show them some admiration like you did, Jay. Give them some good love.
So, Gonzo, man, I kind of gave you the rundown a little bit on Brock Purdy, and I gave you a little bit of the rundown on Jake Haener. Of course, you also remember that the number 1 pick for the Houston Texans in their expansion era was David Carr, and he came out of Fresno as well. Just to kind of give you a little history on Fresno out there. But what do you think about Mr. Haener? Do you think he has, based on what I told you a little bit, do you think he's going to be the next one, or who do you think is going to be the next diamond in the rough to come out of that lower rounds?
Ooh,
I think he has a good chance to, but a lot of it depends on where he goes as well. You have to be somewhere that's going to develop you, and then wherever you go, you got to get them people to believe in you so you get a shot. So,
absolutely. I
think a lot of it depends on where he goes. I think that's why I helped Purdy a lot, is he went to a great situation where he didn't have to be the main guy.
Yeah, until he was.
All he had to do was not turn the ball over, get the ball to all the weapons, and then you have one of the best play callers in football calling plays for you. So I mean, I think a lot of it depends on what situation he goes to.
Yeah.
I think a couple of spots I wouldn't mind seeing him go to that I think that he possibly could land at. One would be if the Seahawks don't take a quarterback at the number 5 spot, which I still think they move up, they could try to draft all their other players they need to in the draft to complement Geno Smith, who they just signed to that nice contract of his. And maybe they pick up a guy like Haener in those later rounds and throw him up there behind Geno and develop him out there in Seattle. Another spot could be possibly the Chiefs in later rounds and throw him behind a Patrick Mahomes. So, just a couple of spots I think where he might be able to flourish, not only in development, but in a good system. So we shall see. Man. Moving on real quick, senors. Giants, again, we already talked about that. The only thing I want to say this is I still feel like that they really overpaid this guy at $40 million. I know he was looking at, and I didn't mean to correct the slide, but I think the 35 to 39 was more realistic. To give him $40 million, I still think is way too much. Way too much. And of course, John Suggs says Haener 3rd round to the Vikings and put him up behind Cousins.
Not bad.
That's not a bad spot either.
Bad. That ain't bad, John.
It's not a bad.
I'll give my piece on this, and Chris, I'll let you go at this, man. But yeah, I mean, they had to pay someone, right? Is either going to be him or Barkley? They said we'll give Jones the money for the long term, and Barkley they franchise tagged him, so this might be his last season with the Giants. You never know. So we'll see what they can do this year.
And just to put it in perspective, Chris, in the 45 million club, obviously you got Rodgers at 50, and then you got Wilson, Murray, Mahomes, and Watson all in that group. And then in the 43 million round, you're going to have Allen and Stafford. And then in the 40 round or the 40 million round, you got Dak. And they're going to put him right at there with Dak, just a little bit underneath, Allen. And I just don't see that. I see him more around the 35 million where Derek Carr is, or the 32 to 33 million where Geno Smith is. But do you think at the end of the day, do you think the Giants are going to are they going to be what's the word? Are they going to have buyer's remorse giving him this much money at come next season or season beyond?
I don't think so. I think Dable's relationship with them, and I think what they're looking at is the big jump that Josh Allen made in year 2 with Dable. So I think they're expecting another big jump from Daniel Jones this year. And I think it just shows that Dable believes in Jones, or the Giants wouldn't have done this. I figured 30 to 35 million. That's what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. So they paid him a little bit more than what I probably would have. But like Logan said, you had to pay somebody, and then he might go out. If he goes out and has a great year this year, this deal could look like a cheap deal. So I mean,
right? Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, time's gonna tell. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they're either gonna come out looking like the best thing since sliced bread, or they're gonna come out looking like a dog.
The big thing they need to do is get some weapons on the outside.
Yeah.
They don't have no receivers.
Yeah, they need someone, man.
And they did release Galladay, so now
he wasn't doing nothing anyway.
Flexibility.
He wasn't doing the thing.
No, he wasn't doing nothing.
He was taking up room in the locker room.
So now, if you're the Giants going into the draft, you got to imagine that wide receivers probably at their top of their list. To give Daniel somebody to throw to.
I would say wide receiver and probably offensive line.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be right there at the top of their list if I'm them anyway.
And then they need a run stopper on defense.
Oh man,
get someone to help out Thibodeau.
Thibodeau, I thought Thibodeau had a fairly good first rookie season.
Yeah, he had a good year.
He wasn't overly flashy, but
I agree. They need somebody to help him out a little bit and I think he's going to be even better this year.
I think Thibodeau is one of those kind of guys. He's a chess player, right? I think he gets better. I think he gets better as the more familiarized with the NFL way of doing things. I think the better he's going to be. So I agree.
He's a smart dude. I mean,
he's highly intellectual.
Yeah, he's a very smart guy.
If you go back and look at his combine and the way he interviewed, they were really high on him in terms of on the intellectual. Matter of fact, a lot of people, because he was such a strategic person, were really trying to put him up as the number one guy over Hutchinson at one time.
Yeah.
So let that sink in. So we'll see what comes out of that. I know we kind of talked about this earlier on the show. John Jones, I know Gonzo. I didn't get to catch this fight, but Gonzo said he had saw it, and he said it was it wasn't as good of a fight against Kanye as what he would like to have seen. So, I'm kind of curious. We'll start with you, Logan, first, since this is your first time weighing in on it. John Jones, where do you see him going now? Now that he has the belt, where does he go from here? Who do you see fight? I know Gonzo wants a Stipe, but where do you see him going in terms of looking for his next fight?
Honestly, man, and I haven't had a chance to talk about the fight, but man, my God, you take off for 3 years, you come back and you win in 3 minutes with tapping him out? That's impressive. And I was a little, whenever he said, he was going to switch to heavyweight, I don't know about you, Chris, but I was like, I don't know, because that's a big jump. I mean, he'd been jumping weight classes, but heavyweight's kind of its own different ordeal. But I mean, he looked fine. He looked great. And obviously he looked dominant, but where does he go from here? I mean, obviously you said, Stipe, he is up there. Volkanovski, right? He's another guy right there who could be doing some work. I mean, there's a few guys that are in contention. Maybe some guys like Pavlich, right? But I don't know about you, Chris, but I don't really see him losing that title anytime soon.
I think Stipe has the best chance of beating him.
I'm with you.
And I think
Stipe is the top, like in terms of just all of them. He's up there.
And from what they're saying, they're going to fight in July.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that's
a
interesting.
couple months away. That'll be a good fight, though.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. I think it's going to be a good draw, and it should pay out pretty well for those guys. He said.
Danny said John Jones versus Usman. I was like, what? He's not even in the heavyweight though. He's
Usman
his weight class. He's
or they'd have to do a catch weight or something. But I don't see John Jones wanting to lose anyway after he took 3 years to put on the weight.
Yeah, I'm not dropping, man. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to go up to me. He's like, I'm talking about like dream matches. I understand because I mean I think Usman is like a top 10 fighter, top 5 fighter in the pound for pounds. Obviously he's super impressive, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, like so that's more just like a dream match.
I like to see him fighting Ngannou, like John is saying. But I don't see that happening.
Dana White said he's out of here. Dana White ain't bringing him back.
Yeah,
I don't know. I still believe that Ngannou, if the money is right, or if they can get
it's not up to him. It's not up to Francis. It's up to Dana White.
No, that's my point. I still think that Dana White is a businessman, and even though he may not like everything that's going on, if there's an opportunity to have a big payday, I still think Dana jumps in on that.
I'm telling you, they're talking about that Brock Lesnar is going to be done with WWE.
That is true,
and I wouldn't be. And John
Jones, they do that too.
That would be like his dream fight to fight Lesnar, and that'd be a huge draw.
Hey, look, Chris. If Brock Lesnar is fighting Omos at WrestleMania, I think he might be out the door sooner than we think. Let's just be real. Come on.
Yeah. So, and if they're talking like he's getting ready to be done with it. So if he's done, man, that'd be a big.
If he wants to keep, if he does want to keep fighting, obviously he's getting older.
That'd be a big money fight if he wanted to fight one more fight. Him and Jones, that'd be a big money. A lot of people would watch it.
Yes, they would.
I just wonder, if you bring when Brock Lesnar, if he does do that and he comes back to the UFC, takes on John Jones. Brock's a little slower, been out of the game for a little bit. How is that going to affect him going up against John Jones?
I think it's
going to be interesting.
Yeah, it would. I definitely think Jones would. Obviously, like I say, he's been out for 3 years, but he's in better fighting shape. Obviously, Lesnar's in terrific shape. There's no doubt about that. He said John Jones put that title in a slap fight. Hey, Dana White, he does run that slap fighting league. I
don't know if y'all been catching that slap boxing, but damn, is it?
Yeah, I don't know about that slap boxing, man. That's kind of iffy.
I'll tell you, man. Hey, look, I've watched a few of these power slaps, and it ain't no joke. Like, these dudes are serious.
Oh, no, they're rearing back.
Yeah, oh, man, but I like watching bare knuckle.
Bare knuckle, yeah.
Fighting. That stuff's fun. That stuff's fun to watch. If you like knockouts,
that's it.
Yeah, watch some BK.
Oh, yeah. Hell, anything that's bare knuckle is going to be amazing. You know that.
John Sugg says Curtis Blades might be a closer fight than people might think. That's what he's going with.
Yeah, it could be closer to what people think. I see that.
I could get back in the UFC, man. I was really heavy into it like 10 years ago, Chris, but kind of just fell off the wayside a little bit.
I've been a big fan of it since it first started back in the 90s.
I gotta get back on that.
Me and Dad watching the first pay-per-view when it was only legal in like 2 states.
Hey, we're gonna get us a final thoughts. I got a final question for you guys. Each one of you guys. You look at, we've seen all of the different moves and the quarterbacks and that are signed from Carr to Geno to Daniel Jones and Lamar and everything. Who is going to have the biggest? I don't want to say. What team got the best contract out of all of these? Like who had the best contract out of all these contracts? Who do you think what NFL team walked away with the best contract?
Ooh, what are we options? We got the.
So you got Carr, you got Geno, you got Daniel. Of course, you got the franchise tag with the Lamar. So I don't know if we really want to put Lamar in there, but definitely, I would say let's look at the main three.
So we got Carr, Geno, and we got
Carr, Geno, and Jones.
Thank you. Yes. Oh,
what team made the best deal?
I would say Jones is my number 3, only because that's the most money, high risk, high reward. Carr is an interesting one because the Saints, they got some issues, man. They got some issues. They got to get their defense fixed too. So honestly, I might go with Geno. I mean, I understand that it might be a 1-year wonder, but it's the cheapest of the 3 deals in a way. and they had the most success out of any of those teams last year. Maybe, you can put the Giants up there, but in terms of just unexpectability, they were up there. Now that they have a solid draft pick that we know they're not going to use on a quarterback now, I would go with the Seahawks with Geno Smith.
I like that though. Gonzo, man, who do you have in this, man, in terms of got the best contract?
I'm gonna go with Daniel Jones.
Okay.
And the main reason is because of Brian Dable. I see Jones making a jump this year, kind of like Josh Allen did after being with Dable for a season. So I'm gonna go with Daniel Jones.
That is and
you're not wrong about that. For me,
I could see it happening. I really could.
I got it just the reverse. I got Geno. I think the Seahawks got Geno at a pretty given. Like I said, 1 in completion rate, 6 in QBR. He still has great weapons. He's got a great team around him, so he should be able to duplicate that again. Unless he just has a brain fart or something. So because they got Geno at a pretty cheap price at around 32 mil on a 3-year deal, which puts him at 35 by the time it's done. I got them at number 1. I felt like that was the best contract move right there. I got the Saints at number 2 because I like the way that they were able to structure Carr's contract to give them, the best cap flexibility that they could get. So I like the structure of the deal with Carr. And also I think Carr is going to be very nice under Dennis Allen, the guy that drafted him. So I think they got the guy they wanted at the deal they wanted. I think overall, very, very financially sound move on their part. And then I got Daniel Jones wrapping it up at number 3, only because of the fact I just don't think he's worth 40 damn million. I think he's more around the 32 to 35. If they would have got him at 4 years, 35 million, then I would have said that's a hell of a deal. But because they gave him 5 million more than that, I'm not 100% sold on him yet. But again, Dable did great things with Josh Allen. And if he can do the same thing or continue the same thing with Daniel Jones, then this could wind up being the best deal. Well, I'm gonna reserve that until year 2 or the second year of this contract to make that decision. We'll see.
John Suggs also chimed in. He said the Raiders they tagged Josh Jacobs like I thought.
Yeah.
After the good year he had, that makes sense. Also running back news. Jay, your boys they tagged Pollard.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that. I would have rather seen that tag. I was telling Gonz, I would rather seen that tag on Schultz. I feel like tight end is a very hard position to come by, and I felt like the Cowboys had the right guy at that spot, and they're going to let him walk. I think quarterback or running backs are a dime a dozen. You get you find one anywhere. Tight ends aren't like that. And I think that the Cowboys, if Schultz walks and goes over to the Chargers like I think he's going to do, I think Dallas is going to regret that at the end of the day.
And Damien also said Carr got overpaid. I thought he got overpaid too. But hey, get your money, man. If they're wanting to pay you, I take it.
We shall see, man. We shall see where that goes, man. Honestly. All right, we're going to jump into some final thoughts. Gonzo, lead us off, man. Final thoughts, brother. I know you got some wrestling stuff coming up.
Well, tomorrow we got superfan Glenn Richardson's going to be on with us 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Join us for that. Also, check out Easy Money, a sports betting show. My picks are 140 and 123 on the year so far. Ooh. So check us out 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday at Gonzo Sports Room and at the All Sports All Plays Network.
Hell yeah, man.
And this Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be live streaming Live Pro Wrestling WTF. And as seen on AEW, Brian Pillman Jr. is going to be wrestling in the main event.
All right.
Damn. All right.
So come join us for that 6 o'clock Saturday night. YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Gonzo Sports Room.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Logan, final thoughts, brother.
Final thoughts, man. Yeah, like I said, great show tonight, fellas. Also, we got March Madness coming up real soon. We gotta get our brackets going here. We had the last 2 years we've went through. We've given our predictions for I think each round, and we got to get it going again, man. John said, quick thoughts on some NHL trades.
Brackets come out Sunday.
There you go. First one, obviously the big one, John. Patrick Kane, who went over to the New York Rangers. That was a big one. Let's look at the standings just real quick, fellas. We gotta give our daily hockey recap, right? We said we were trying to get some.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe my Stars are still at number 6 right now.
Let me catch you right now, Jay. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure the Bruins are at number 1. That's Frankie's team.
Yeah, Boston's number 1. My boys, Carolina, Jay, we're number 2. Let's see. Where you at, Jay? Where you at? Where's Dallas at? Did I skip y'all? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong conference. Hold on. So, Jay, Dallas, y'all are number 3 in the Western Conference. So y'all are looking good over there.
Oh yeah, we're number 3 in the Western. Yeah, that's what I figured.
You're 34 and 17.
I think we're number 6 overall, but yeah.
Yeah, in the Western though, you're right there near the top, Jay. The Kings and the Golden Knights are tied up top at 82 points. You're at 81. So right there, and then Chris, you're with the Columbus Blue Jackets, correct? Those are your boys.
Yeah, that'd be the closest team to me.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, brother. Dead last in the whole league. 20 and 37, 46 points. It's all right. Some days are better than others,
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. What a time to be alive when it comes to hockey, man. Jeez. Yeah, man, Dallas been losing. Hey, Frankie, I know, man. I'm checking that out. And then Bruins number 1. Oh, whatever.
They're number 1. He's not wrong.
He said nothing new for Chris to like a team that's dead last.
That's
man,
cool.
poor Chris.
Chris can't get a break.
Astros still are currently.
Just wait till one of my teams start winning.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that, man.
So the Astros, Frankie sent me some information on the Astros. I just saw that. Apparently, Valdez and Tucker. The Astros are still trying to work out extensions for those guys. They have not been able to do so. So I don't know if arbitration is coming up. At the end of the day, though, I don't think they let either one of those guys get out from their clutches. So I do expect extensions to get worked out for those guys. But it's going to be interesting. And Houston, you can't get those nickel and dime guys every time. You may have to pay a couple of guys a little bit of money.
And one more thing, Damien, we got you. He said, what's y'all's thoughts on Jay's heel turn on Sammy last night? Chris, this is your main topic, brother. I'll let you take it away.
Oh, I loved it. I thought the way they set it up and done it was great because when he made it look like he was going to go with Sammy, they let it breathe for a minute or two before he turned.
Yep.
And I thought it kind of caught the crowd off guard because everybody got really was sold that he was teaming up with Sammy. And then boom, super kick, and they beat the hell out of Sammy. It's going. I thought they put it together real well.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. I think.
Hey, and Chris, you know what we got for the U.S. title? We got John Cena back in the mix against Austin Theory. A match I'm looking forward to, man. You all know who I'm repping in that one.
I'm going John Cena all day.
I can't do it, man. Can't do it. Love me some John Cena. Don't get me wrong, but I can't do it. Frankie said nothing new. We all knew it would happen. They need to start the Sammy and KO versus Uso match in Mania for the belts, which is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I bet you. I think something's going to happen Friday on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's got to happen. But yeah, WrestleMania's around the corner. NFL draft, March Madness, the MLB season, regular season. NHL playoffs. We got a lot, man.
Yeah, March Madness brackets come out on Sunday. Is the selection show.
All right.
So yeah, catch us on all of the things that Gonzo and Logan are putting out right now. Also, we won't have a show on Thursday. I'll be out of town, but we will have a show on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we will continue to pick up at pick number 11 in the first round with the draft. And we're going to continue to give our thoughts on that. So
there you go.
Stay tuned for that on Saturday. There'll be more draft coverage on that. Before we get out, Frankie says nothing new. We already got that. He said, I'm so pumped for Mania. Frankie, 2 belts. Can't wait.
There you go. Frankie, 2 belts, baby.
I think Mania is going to be real good this year.
It's shaping up solid.
It's going to be good. And again, hey, you guys, we will be doing a live watch along for that. So stay tuned for more information on that. Before we get out of here, make sure you check us out on Twitter, Unscripted Guys, all one word, TikTok, Unscripted Sports, all one word, for the latest stuff. And then also check us out on the ASAP Network Google app. on Google Play, Amazon, and then you can also find us in association with BetUS for those types of things. So check out our mobile app and check us out on Twitter and TikTok. And unless you guys got anything else, I'll give you a 4-second silence, and then we're going to close this bad boy out.
Let's get out of here, Jay.
Y'all be good, and we'll catch you on Saturday.